let's find the zeros of this quadratic function. So we have f of x equals 4x squared plus 20. So the first thing we want to do is set it equal to 0. So change f of x to 0. 0 equals 4x squared plus 20. Now we want to solve using square roots in this case. So let's go ahead and let's subtract 20 from both sides. So we have negative 20 equals 4x squared. Then to solve for x, let's divide by 4 first. So we get negative 5 equals x squared. Square root both sides. So we see that x equals plus or minus I square root of 5. So we can do a check just so you can see it. So does 0 equal 4 times I root 5 squared plus 20? So 0 equals 4. Now I squared is negative 1. And then square root of 5 is just times 5 and then plus 20. Okay, so remember that's I root 5 times I root 5. So that's I squared times root 5 squared. So then I squared is negative 1 times 5. Okay, so 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20 plus 20. So therefore 0 equals 0, and that is true. Now you don't have to do a check, but I just wanted you to see that. And it's a good review on multiplying complex numbers. So go ahead and try number 20, 21, and 22, finding the zeros of the function. You're just solving, and in this case we're solving by square roots. So for number 20, you would get x equals plus or minus I root 7. For 21, you get x equals plus or minus 2i. For number 22, you get x equals plus or minus 1/3 I. Okay, so let me work through these. So this is 0 equals x squared plus 7. Let's subtract 7 from both sides. Negative 7 equals x squared. Square root. We get x equals plus or minus I root 7. The 7 doesn't come out, but we can take out the negative 1 as an I. Number 21, we can set it equal to 0, so we get negative x squared minus 4. So let's add x squared to both sides. So now we get x squared equals negative 4. We square root. We get x equals plus or minus 2i. So notice 4 is perfect, right? So that comes out, and then we have an I. So if you wanted to separate it, negative 1 and 4. Okay, so maybe that helps out. This is the I, and this is perfect too. Number 22, 0 equals 9x squared plus 1. Let's subtract 1 from both sides. So we get negative 1 equals 9x squared divided by 9. So we get x squared equals negative 1 over 9. Let's take the square root. So x equals plus or minus, let's split it up. Square root of negative 1 over square root of 9. So remember that the square root of that square root of negative 1, we can change that to just an I. And then the square root of 9 is 3. Okay, so I could write it like that as well. So x equals plus or minus I over 3. Or you can just separate out like I did in the above answer. X equals plus or minus 1/3 and then the I. Either one is an acceptable answer.